I've been with no sleep for like 5 days. Living this life just for Friday. I don't like rules, I do it my way. Everywhere I go they say my name. 605 crypto, 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 605 crypto.
We love green.
Welcome to the show today. This is Travis B with 605 Crypto. And if you're in the Thor community, you're probably well aware of this, but I wanted to give my take. Yesterday afternoon, about 3:30, the Thor Twitter account put out this tweet. We have been growing at an incredible rate. Unsustainability goes both ways, growth up and down. To address long-term sustainability, we have to announce our long-term plans. We will be here for years, not months. So I read that yesterday. I'm like, all right. I already knew what my return on investment date was. I knew what my rewards were. So I just happened to click on the picture here. And then it was a little bit of, oh boy. You get into this, and you start to see things that you don't want to see. More or less what's going on here, the dev team has figured out that the current model of rewards is unsustainable, and they do not want to become the next Ring Finance or one of these other projects that just went downhill real quick. They want to make sure that this is sustainable and around for years, like they stated. So, at first take, it's a little frustrating because they're basically cutting the rewards. So, last night, people were apprehensive. If you can see in the price chart, Thor was hovering around the 220 mark, and then they make this announcement on Twitter, and boom. You can see, I mean, it was all the way down to 142, but quickly rebounded. The reason it quickly rebounded is because of the amount of feedback that was on Twitter, and the Thor team has been great as far as their responsiveness. There was so much of an outcry that what went on and how everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people expected the rewards to be decreased at some point, but the way that the message was announced and the way that they were imposing dates did not jive with the community very well. But there was so much negative feedback that quickly the development team and Thor, they got together and they decided, hey, look, we might not have done this right. And they worked last night to make some tweaks. So now they made some tweaks. If we check in with the tweaks that were made, we can see that the Thor node will now make 1.44 a day. So instead of 8 days, it's about 7 days. So we still took a hit. That's great. I want this thing to be around for years. I want to make passive income while I'm sleeping for years to come, not just a couple months and have to be worried about getting my return on investment, my initial investment out of this. And you can see they changed the maintenance fees to a fixed dollar amount. Makes a lot more sense. Okay? $20 a month. I'll pay that. Okay? The 0.44 at the $170 mark, the $170 range, which is where it's hovering right now. That's about $25 a day, and that's a little more reasonable and sustainable. No, it's not the $70 a day I'm making now, but you know what? That was unsustainable. I'd like to make this for years to come. So you can check out the rewards here. If you go over to Thor Financial, they have all the latest information, and now they're also going to stagger the dates, and that was a big thing. People that just bought in the other day, I know I was watching Nerdy Dude stuff yesterday, and he just got into Thor, and I was thrilled because I'd gotten in a week earlier. I've been watching a lot of Nerdy Dude stuff videos over the last several months. Really appreciate his content, learned a lot from him, have gotten in on some of the projects he's mentioned. So when I saw his video about it, I was like, it's great. And then within 20 minutes of that video coming out is when I found out about these reward changes. I was mixed emotions at first. I was like, oh, great. This is going to go downhill. But the response from Thor Financial and the development team, they listen to the community. This is great. And if we go over to the Twitter and check in with AM, he says Thor always listens to the community, and that is one of the reasons this project will be extremely successful. And I have to agree, and, I hope also that AM and I are correct. But, the fact that they went back and considered, and now instead of just 10 days, I'll continue to get my current rewards at the 0.33 that I'm getting now until the 14th. So that's going to help a lot with my return on investment. I'm going to have to go recalculate my dates. I think February 26th was my original 38-day mark, and now it's going to be later than that. That's fine. I can be patient. I understand the crypto game is all about patience. Patience wins. Well, in investments in general. Checking in over at WanLend on the Twitter. WanLend is a decentralized money protocol that allows borrowing and lending on the WanChain. So the exciting thing about this tweet is now you can take your Fantom tokens, trade them for Fantom, and start to earn money on the WanChain through this WanLend program. WanLend, I'm going to check WanLend out, see if there's any opportunities for me. It's one of my, the WanChain is one of my favorite blockchains, and everything going on at Zookeeper and OpenZoo and that whole ecosystem is really taken off, so I expect there to be a lot more news like this. I'm excited to see what else is to come from the WanChain network. Checking in over at Cointelegraph, Amex CEO hints at exploring ways to allow credit card holders to redeem points for crypto. And this is big news. Right now, you can actually get debit cards through exchanges like Coinbase and Uphold, and you can earn crypto back when you spend money out of your debit card. But that's not a credit card. A lot of people utilize credit cards to earn points. And, now Amex, who's probably the best credit card company out there, and that's my humble opinion, the fact that they're exploring this and they're talking about this is huge, because now instead of redeeming your points for airline mileage or for whatever you would do in the past, you can do it for crypto. And I know even though Visa and MasterCard are a little bit ahead of Amex, like I said, Amex is the best. American Express is the best credit card. If you ever have a problem, you call them up, they take care of it. Visa and MasterCard, they've got pretty good customer service, but it's nowhere near what American Express is. Checking over at Kotaku, UbiSoft executive says users don't get it. An extraordinary NFT interview. And this is a pretty good read. They released their NFT market space kind of unsuccessfully back in December. And this is the interview. I suggest you go ahead and give it a read. But if you check in at this excerpt right here, I think gamers don't get what a digital secondary market can bring them. For now, because of the current situation and context of NFTs, gamers really believe it's first destroying the planet and second just a tool for speculation. But what we at UbiSoft are seeing first is the end game. The end game is about giving players the opportunity to resell their items once they're finished with them or they're finished playing the game itself. Now think about that. A lot of times people just play a game for so long, and when they get to the point that they've had enough, that game just sits on the shelf or gets traded in. But that character you worked so hard on for that long amount of time that you played that game might have value now. And you can take that and sell that to somebody else that wants to get ahead. I know people were doing this with Diablo 2 characters all the way back in the early 2000s. So this isn't a brand new concept. It's been done before, but doing this with NFTs on the blockchain and now giving players a easier way to maybe profit a little bit off their hard work on these games, it's very exciting. I've been a gamer since the 80s, grew up with an NES, and I'd like to be able to sell some of my characters. That Zelda character from 1988 might be worth something. I wanted to check in with Crypto Nagato over at the Twitter and just kind of stress the importance of this statement he makes. Real luxury items are freedom, time, and peace of mind, not fancy cars, expensive watches, and designer clothes. If you give up the first to get the second, what is the true value? So I ask you to ponder that in your mind. If you give up all your time, which is the most valuable asset you have, by the way, so you can have a nice car and fancy clothes, what's the point of that? When that starts to make sense to you, you're on your way to succeeding in life. Thanks for joining us today. If you made it this far, give us a like and a subscribe, and tell a friend about the show. And remember, I'm not a financial advisor. Please do your own research. This is Travis B. with 605 Crypto. We'll see you next time.
I've been with no sleep for like 5 days, living this life just for Friday. I don't like rules, I do it my way. Everywhere I go, they say my name. 605 Crypto, 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 605 Crypto.
We love green.